everyone, it's Kristen Redmond, and today we're going to go over the planetary aspects that are surrounding us and affecting us for this week, May 1st through the 7th. And this week, most of the action that's going to be happening revolves around our planet of thought, Mercury. Mercury is the star player of this week, so communication is going to be at the forefront, definitely this week in various ways. And a little bit of it has to do with thinking new thoughts, thinking radical thoughts, thinking new ideas, communicating with new people that help liberate us from the chains of the past. And that's thanks to Mercury aligning with Uranus. That started last Friday. Okay, this is a once-a-year thing that happens, but this alignment is pretty cool in the fact that it's happening while Mercury is in its retrograde phase. And then when it goes direct, when Mercury goes direct on Wednesday, it's still going to be aligned with Uranus. And I think that's a very interesting fact because it has us really looking to the past, because that's what retrogrades do. They have us looking to the past and revising our plans, editing things. It has us reinventing the wheel, I suppose, in a way you could say, with whatever planet it carries those energies for. And with Mercury, Mercury is all about the way we think. It's our thought process. And as we know, our thoughts create reality, don't they? And here we are in this, coming off of the legs of this new moon phase in Taurus, where we really want to start some new beginnings and new cycles in our life around money, around stability, around just the general security and foundations of our life, right? We want new beginnings. And Mercury has us looking in this retrograde phase that it's been in from April 9th until the 3rd this week. It's been having us look to the past to see, how do I restructure these things, right? Started out when Mercury was in Taurus, and then it backed right up into the sign of Aries. And so we started out with the ideas, how do I want to make my life more secure? And then as it backed into Aries last week, it had us thinking, how do I start the fire and change this when Mercury does go direct? How do I go from revising in my head to making these plans happen, right? That's what happens when Mercury's in retrograde. And as it aligns, what I love about this is that retrograde Mercury aligned with Uranus, right, on Friday. And Uranus is that planet that just does the most unexpected of things. You never know what's going to happen when Uranus makes a contact. It could either be really good or it could be really bad, but no matter what, it's unexpected. And no matter what energy it is, if it's bad or if it's good, what Uranus is doing is liberating you. It wants to free you. It's focused on breaking chains of the past in areas where we've grown too accustomed and comfortable in this area because it just doesn't work anymore, right? And that's kind of some of those things that we recognize as we look back to the past, like I said, through April 9th until May 3rd, as Mercury has been in retrograde. How do I free myself out of this? That's what Uranus does. So what does Uranus do? It brings us unexpected events, right? Unexpected circumstances that force you to think different. Unexpected people that come into your life that help you to look at things from a new perspective, a fresh perspective, maybe a radical perspective that you never would have imagined before. And that's the great thing. If you see, hear, feel these impressions that come through in this week, because this energy carries throughout the rest of this week, if that's what happens starting last Friday, you run into some people that get your mind thinking new thoughts, pay attention to it, right? Because what it's ultimately trying to do is break down the chains of the past for you and change those things that you've been trying so hard to find new ways to resolve in old issues. Let's get them done, right? So the planetary energies are strong for that this week. Most of the energy of the universe surrounds this Mercury going direct, going out of retrograde. When Mercury goes retrograde, it's always got a bad connotation to it. I got to tell you, Mercury retrograde has such a bad rap. And it's because it's notoriously known for causing delays. delays. Things don't go through as you expect. Phone calls don't send. Your computer locks up. Your phone locks up. You have difficulties communicating your thoughts, literally communicating them outward to somebody else. And then when you do get it out to them, they jumble it up and don't understand it right either. And it's communication breakdown all around on all levels when Mercury goes backwards, when it goes into that retrograde phase. And it's okay though, right? Usually it gets such a bad rap, but really what it is, it's kind of like our mind gets to go offline for a little bit, right? And kind of reassess and revise plans for moving forward into the future, right? Take a break from the chaotic thinking and really just focus on what it is we need to do to change and get that solid footing for the future. And as it goes direct on May 3rd, it's like the green light goes again universally to get the ball rolling on things. Mercury rules contracts as well, so it's always generally a bad idea to buy a house, sign for a house, buy a vehicle, anything you need to sign your name on a dotted line, especially if it involves your money, okay, because the sun's in Taurus, so we're really focused on money. Any sort of contract that you sign in that 3-week time generally is a bad idea. And let me tell you why. Because Mercury rules contracts. And if you sign something in that time frame, it will kind of come back later and not really work to your advantage, and things might fall through where you were hoping they would have been a little bit more stable. So as it goes direct on May 3rd, we can start signing our lives away again, I suppose you could say. Communication lines open up again. Electronics work better again. And that's one of the main things I've noticed in this retrograde phase. My goodness, everybody's phones are on the crazy end of things. And I feel like maybe it has to do a little bit with Uranus, too, making this connection at the very last leg of the Mercury retrograde, the second Mercury retrograde of this year. Because Uranus rules electronic impulses and devices. It electrifies things. It electrocutes us out of our comfort zone to change this thing. You're so unhappy and so uncomfortable. Well, let me shake you out of it. That's what Uranus says. So I find it really fitting that it makes that connection with the retrograde Mercury, helping to electrify those thoughts and ideas and bring some new and amazing change through as we move forward on May 3rd. So that's pretty much the energy that's going on with that. What else do we have? Another thing, too, is that we are kind of in an in-between phase right now, I suppose you could say, as the sun and the moon. How do I want to start this? Gosh, I didn't really write anything out, to be honest with you today. So basically what's happening is we are in an in-between phase between where the spring equinox was and where the summer solstice is. Of course, the summer solstice is when the sun is at the highest point in the sky, and it's the longest day of the year. That's on June 21st. And when it's at its highest, it represents us, our sun, our essence, being at its absolute highest, where we shine our brightest and where we are at our best. That's what the summer solstice represents, okay? And then in the winter solstice, on the total opposite of that spectrum, it's when the sun is at its lowest, and it's at the shortest day of the year. And that's when we kind of die a proverbial death, I suppose, of old ways and old things, old habits, as we go into the coming new year, right? It's in that perfect time frame just before Christmas always, when the sun is at its lowest. So we ourselves are at our lowest because the sun represents us. It represents our essence in this world. And so that's the summer solstice coming up in June. But the spring equinox is kind of like a midpoint between when that winter solstice happens, when we are at our lowest point, and we have to go within to find out a little bit more about ourselves within. And then the summer solstice, when we're at our highest and we're operating at our best and we're shining at our brightest, right? So this spring equinox is midway, celebration of the halfway point. So we are between the spring equinox and the summer solstice this week. So we're kind of celebrating that fact that we're moving past all of the darkness, and we're at a point now where we are moving into looking forward to shining our light at the brightest. We're letting go of things. We're letting go of the things that the solstices have brought to us. Solstices, of course, the lunar ones that we had in February triggered a lot of endings for folks. For all of everybody, in a sense, there's something that made itself very well known what needs to change in your life to bring happiness and to get you out of that darkness. And as we move forward, the light shines more on it and helps us to move into it even brighter. So we celebrate that this week as we get closer to that point where in June we'll be seeing a lot more of that sun, right? Letting these things go, moving on from the past. So that's pretty much everything that's happening this week. I know it's not a whole ton, but it's pretty cool nonetheless because our mindset matters, does it not? Yes, it does. So here we go. Let's do a reading for the week. I have my little box of stones today, my little Grandma Chapko box of stones, because I did a party last night, and all of my stones are cleansing in the, well, there is no sunlight today because it's raining, but what I like to do to cleanse my stones is I like to set them out in a cycle of the sunlight to burn out any energy, or in my case, because I had many clients last night that were holding the stones and touching the stones, to remove their energies and the from those stones. And then it goes through a, no, not right now, Riley, sorry. And then it goes through a moonlight phase as well to draw that out. So it's a matter of burning up what's in there and then drawing out any other remnants of energies and recharging the stone with the essence of whatever the moon is. Right now the moon, of course, is in Cancer, and it kind of has us drawn in, going into the home, into the self, and really paying attention to our feelings, because Cancer is the deepest feeling of the sign. So, wow, that was a lot of extra information right there. Hello, just get your stones out in the sun or the moon to cleanse them is really what I meant to say. We'll get a little bit of more astrological information. Long and short of it, I have my short box of stones, and we'll do a reading from there. So let's see here. Who is working with us this week as Mercury makes these changes, helping us to break free of the past, move into the future. Let's take a look and see. Whoa, runaway stone. All right, we have Archangel Jophiel here. I have a kyanite, and what that stone does is that it opens up our third eye so that we can receive messages more clearly, right? And that's, of course, fantastic, right? Because this is fitting with Mercury going direct this week. We're a little bit more mentally sharp, I suppose you could say, and aware of what is being communicated to us. Kyanite is a stone that does that. It really brings forward our psychic senses as well, so we can receive messages on all cylinders. But Archangel Jophiel is the angel that is the angel of balance, of harmony. She's known as a feng shui angel because she likes to direct energy around us, remove the blocks so that energy can also flow efficiently. And she's also the angel of relationships as well. She's the angel of Libra. So she comes through and she tries to balance the scales in those areas for us. So if you found that this year, like a lot of people, because this year is the year that centralizes around relationships, and the Libra energy, if you found that your mindset has been focused on those relationships in this time frame, I think you may find in this week that scales are beginning to get a little bit more balanced, because now your mindset is focused on what has to be done to make things move forward in a little bit more of an efficient manner to free you from the chains of the past. Kyanite, wonderful stone. Okay, so here we go. Let's see what Archangel Jophiel has to say for us this week going forward. Archangel Jophiel is hot pink. Hot pink. She's beautiful magenta color. Like the heart. Love, beauty, and balance. That's what she represents. What does she have to say this week? Last one. All right. Aha. She says, look at this. We got some stuff coming up. And it's interesting, too, because remember I said we got Uranus aligned with Mercury, and Uranus tends to bring things in an unexpected, fast manner. And this card also indicates that same energy, that a sudden event needs immediate attention. Time is of the essence, and to think things through clearly. Luckily, Mercury is going direct this week, so we're going to be aware of it. This is generally a messenger card that something is going to be happening relatively fast and relatively unexpected, okay? Remember, like I said, though, even if it's something that's unexpected, whether it's good or bad, Uranus is trying to help change and shift things for you like you want it. This is a card that is it's positive, though, even though it indicates that something may happen fast and you need to use your logic and your strength to get through. Ultimately, it's something that needs to change, right? It's telling you you're aware of it. It's not like it's going to be a total shock because it's something you've been seeing coming anyway. But regardless, when that time comes and it actually happens, it makes it kind of like, oh my gosh, what do I do now? Trust in the fact that Archangel Jophiel will be around in that time frame is what I'm feeling, because she will help bring peace and balance in that time frame, as well as messages as to how keep things in a harmonious flow. But let's get a little bit of an extra bit of information on maybe what this event energy is. Okay, I'm going to pull another card here. We're going to pull one of the chakra cards and see what else has to be said with that. So, we got our third eye open so we can kind of see that event coming a little bit, or at least a little bit more clearly, right? I'm going to do this 2 more times. Isn't that interesting? Being on a quest. So interesting because we've got this horse that's charging ahead and moving forward, and then we've got this quest that's going on. And this card, every time I see it, it makes me think of leaving the past behind and moving into the bright future. Kind of like I was saying about how we're at that midpoint between Jack. Please. Sorry, we got a bagel stealer over here. Let's put those up. Yes, thank you. Oh, man. Okay. We're going to have to get that bag of bagels in a minute. Anyway, so what this card represents is exactly everything I was just saying. We're really letting go of things from the past and moving to the forward and into the future. And in that process, it's a quest. And it's a quest that helps us along our path. Number one main thing is that we're following the path that we're intended to follow. Follow your intuition. Follow what Archangel Jophiel is leading you to. And those electrified thoughts and people that come in to help you think differently this week as Mercury goes direct. And we move forward on our path. So everybody have a wonderful week, and thank you for watching. Bye.